Okay, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you again for joining our Arizona Dynamics User Group Meetup virtual. I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate everyone attending our meetup today. Again, my name is Cecile Dean. I'm Dynamics User Group Leader in Arizona. I'm with Airlines Reporting Corporation for 11 years now. Prior joining ARC, I was in consulting for around 15 years. So total, I'll have 25 years experience of Dynamics GP. Early this year, I received my Business Central certification. And I'm also learning about our platform. So the road to success is always under construction, isn't it? So I also wanted to introduce you, my co-leader, Dana Service, our speaker today as well.
Hi, everybody. I'm really excited because this is going to be my first Doug meeting. I have previously been leaders in other aspects of Dynamics in the CRM space. So this is really exciting for me. I am currently a solution architect at Stoneridge Software. Been here only since the beginning of the year. So I'm relatively new in the consulting space. But I've been doing Dynamics CRM since 2011, so definitely have plenty of experience out there, mostly from the end user space, formerly with Fender Guitar and Boral Building Supplies and Blackhawk Network, if you've heard of any of those guys. So again, I'm just really excited to be here. So hopefully we can generate some CRM interest.
Okay, thank you, Dana. Okay, so I'm gonna let Liz share her screen so we can have some introduction to Dynamics User Group.
Sounds awesome. Thank you, Cecile. Hopefully you are not looking at the right screen right now, are you? You're in presenter mode, aren't you?
We're seeing your screen.
You are, and not my presenter mode?
Nope.
Perfect.
You're good.
And we're where we need to be. Yes, also a big welcome from me. I know most of you here, but there's a couple that I don't. So my name is Liz Hallen. I am the VP here at Dynamics User Group. Very happy to be here with Cecile and Dana today to host this next virtual Arizona group. For those that may not have known a little bit about Doug, which is what we refer to for Dynamics User Group, I wanted to just do a quick overview of some of the things that we do offer. So we are a free community, a user group community. We welcome partners, ISVs, consultants, and user customers. We have a free individual membership, as well as many of our programs and things are free as well. We have grown actually over 42,000 members now. I need to update my slides. And we have been around a while, but you've probably heard of us most recently, probably in the last 3 years, which is when we had full-time staff on board. Prior to that, it was run by a volunteer. Some of the programs we offer, so our Doug Meetups, which is where you're at today, is just one of them. But we are also the host of the Dynamics Con virtual and Dynamics Con virtual events, if you've heard of those conferences. We just held our third one in Scottsdale, Arizona in May, and I'll talk a little bit about our upcoming one next. We do have online discussion forums, which are free. We've got a very robust YouTube channel, which has hosted many of our Dynamics Con virtual educational sessions, as well as other things out there. And most recently, we just launched a new program called Doug Webinars, also free. And this is some really great education on product content for everybody to learn lots more. We've seen amazing attendance from these. We do these in conjunction with MS Dynamics World, if you've heard of them. And we have seen on average about 120 attendees for each of our webinars so far. So it's been a very, very good program. And then our Team Up Partner Program is a way for our end user customers to learn more about solutions and products that are in the Dynamics and Power Platform channels. And if you are a partner ISV, this is an annual membership and it does have a fee, but you get exposure to many of the different programs that we offer here at Doug. This probably doesn't pertain to a lot of you, but we are starting to do what we call Doug regional meetups. These are a little bit larger in scope, and often covering more than one product from the Dynamics or Power Platform channels. And this is a full day of free content and lots of really great speakers, MVPs, Microsoft employees. Our second one is today, actually, in Arlington, Virginia, but we are having one coming up in the Columbus, Ohio area next month. Our DynamicsCon Live event, the next one, will be hosted in Denver, Colorado. I think that's a pretty easy flight from Arizona. So we hope to see all of you there. We do have our early bird registration pricing going on right now through the end of July. So if you haven't registered, I encourage you to do that. And I will turn it back over to, I guess, probably Dana. So Dana is going to be your presenter and sharing tons of knowledge today. But I'm here if anybody has questions about Doug or any of our programs, and I will add a link to our website in the chat for you.
Okay, thank you, Liz. Okay, so before we turn it over to Dana, I just want to have a quick introduction. I would love to know your name, your company, what you do, and what makes you busy, and what is your expectation in this meeting. Maybe we can start with Joe. Joe, welcome. So, yes.
Hello, everyone. Joe Lemack, account manager with Archer Point. I've been with Archer Point for 6 years now. Been in the Dynamics channel since 2001, and then actually started as a Great Plains account executive in 1999. So it's been a long journey. What keeps me busy every day is just keeping customers happy, listening, playing psychiatrist sometimes, I guess, and everything they need, right? Located here out of Gilbert, Arizona.
All right.
Well, for today, just always looking for things to bring back to the team, or things to bring back to our customers and try to help them. Yep.
All right, thank you, Joe. Are you using Dynamics GP or a different ERP?
So we're a NAV Business Central partner.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Oh, okay. All right, thank you. All right, next we have Russ.
Hi, everybody. Russ Groff with Cavallo. I run the channel team here at Cavallo. We are an ISV, or independent third-party add-on product for Microsoft Dynamics GP and BC. Been known as SalesPad for 20 years. So some of you have been around GP for a while, may be familiar with the SalesPad name. Really a prominent player in that space, doing order entry, order management, workflow, and all kinds of functionality for distributors in that GP space. Last couple of years been building out our BC practice and products. And so we're excited about the growth that we're experiencing there. And so I'm actually based in Chandler during the winter, but I get to escape in the summer. So I'm up in Wisconsin right now, watching the temperatures there at home and enjoying the cool weather here. Sorry to rub that in. But otherwise I'll be back in Chandler here in October. And yeah, just excited to be part of the group. I've been to the live event and a couple of these virtual ones. I'm a believer in community, and anything I can do to support the community and promote solutions and successful, happy users is I'm all in on that. So, and we have our customer conference coming up. Liz, I didn't see you registered. I see Bob and Molly, but not you, huh? Not going to join us?
Bob and Molly will be there representing
Okay.
Doug at
All right.
Yes.
All right. So you won't be in Grand Rapids here in a few weeks, but
I will
we'll be thinking
not.
about
I'll
you.
miss you, Russ.
All right. Same here. Thanks. Glad to be here.
Thank you, Russ. And let's hear from Todd.
Good morning, everybody. Todd Shelburne with BMG. We are end user of Business Central and Dataverse. I personally have been involved with Dataverse since like 2011, and BC is kind of a newer thing on my plate. We implemented a couple 3 years ago, switching from QuickBooks. So been an interesting journey there, but we seem to be on the right road. And so my title is CTO. So I'm kind of, my focus is trying to be with the data side of things, but have quite a wide range of technical things that fall under my hat. So expectations are always just, learning something new and getting different perspectives of what's going on in the world. Sometimes I kind of feel like I'm in the dark when you're on the end user side. So that's it.
Thank you, Todd. Good to hear from you. All right, so we have Ryan. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ryan Harris. I'm actually the new marketing manager at Dynamics User Group, Doug with Liz. So I'm based in Columbus, Ohio. It's not quite as hot up here, but I actually come from a partner in Ellipse Solutions, and then more recently an ISV. I was at FastPath prior to Doug. So I'm excited to network and connect with partners, ISVs, and users you name it, in the community.
All right, thank you, Ryan. All right, so it's time to hear from Dana.
All right, I'm gonna share my screen here. And hopefully you guys can see my screen okay. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Oops, and of course it went back. Hang on. Okay, so again, very excited to be here. I know one of the reasons that we are really trying to network within the Phoenix area, within the Arizona area, is to start kind of bridging out and getting more usership, more members in different spaces. So I know a lot of you guys are in that NAV and BC space, but we're going to be talking a little bit more in general about Power Apps and some of the model-driven apps within the Dynamics CE space. So hopefully it'll give you a little bit of a peek into what we're doing over here on our side. And again, hopefully we can kind of start sharing this with some other CE users. We can get some more people out there. So with that, I'll go ahead and get started. So with regards to the mobile apps, one of the things that we're constantly hearing is, I'm out in the middle of nowhere, I lose connection, I can't access my mobile app, I can't function. So Microsoft has built out their offline platform and specifically created offline profiles. And it's kind of half in GA and half in preview. GA being general use. So I want to talk a little bit about what the offline profiles are and how they kind of integrate, what exactly they do for us when we're talking about our model-driven apps. So offline profiles are basically how you're going to, and specifically what you're going to be syncing to your mobile device. And that, when I say syncing, meaning that it's actually going to download files, it's going to store data on your mobile device. So there are going to be some things that you need to think about that I'll talk through as we're going through this session. And I will do a demo of this as soon as I get through some of these slides. But ultimately, some of the considerations that you really need to be thinking about are how to set it up. There are a lot of different areas within the Maker portal, within System Admin, within the actual tables that are on your custom entities within the CE platform, where you will need to go in and ensure that it's set up to be offline capable. So things like security roles need to be considered. Your security roles have to be aligned with your mobile app. And then your mobile app has to be aligned with your security role. And then within that security role, you have to have read permissions into your model-driven app. So some of the security things can get a little bit muddled. You just have to be very clear cut in who and what is going to be accessible offline. There also, when I was talking earlier about what's GA versus what is in preview, there are different ways that you can access these model-driven apps. So one of those ways is actually through the admin center down here at the bottom. You can kind of see that in my image here, and I'll show it to you when I go and do the demo. But basically, you can do it and create it in the admin center. You can also do it from the Maker portal in Power Apps, where you actually set it up to go offline. So there's some differences in how that looks. And so there's a few things that I'll kind of point out. One of them being the files and images that is available in preview. It's not currently in the admin center in GA. So some of those things are kind of in flux. I believe they said by the end of this year, maybe in wave 2, they'll have some of that be coming out. One of the other things that I want to mention with offline profiles. So if you think about your app is basically all of your data that you're allowing your users to access. And based on their security roles, they have varying levels of read-only versus write and append, those types of rights and roles. When you're in creating these profiles, you need to be very intentional when you're creating a new profile. And it's something that I've learned over time, that if you go kind of cowboy and you go in and say, well, I need to have all of these different tables available to my people when they go offline, and you just throw it all into the pot, you are going to encounter things like circular references, and you're going to exceed the number of relationships, and you will be unable to publish your profile, rendering it unusable. So what I recommend as you're creating these profiles, you need to be very intentional. One table at a time, go in, add it to your profile, and then work through each of these different areas within that table, making sure that you publish after each change and test to make sure that it's working. It is slow going. It isn't quick, not like some of the other things that you can do in our platforms. But just kind of be very intentional when you're doing it. Just go nice and slow the first couple times you do it, and it'll work out for you very well. I just keep usually an Excel open that kind of walks through all the things that I've added, because at any given time you're going to add something, get an error, and you're going to have to backtrack a little bit. So just be very slow as you're working through it. Next thing is, what do I really need offline? And this is probably the biggest thing working with users in the consulting space that I have come to realize. Having been on the user side, I recognize that, boy, I want everything. Like if I go offline, I want to be able to do all the things that I did when I was online. However, there are some limitations, because the data usage, the download speeds, how frequently you sync records, all of those things have to be really thought out before you go starting to develop your offline profile. So you should probably define what that work process looks like and work with your users to kind of slim it down. So if you think about it, if I had everything, so every record in our system, how many accounts is that? Accounts being owned by the entire organization could potentially be in hundreds of thousands. Having to download those frequently is going to cause some slowness in your device. You're going to have data usage problems. You're going to have download speed problems. So keep that kind of in the back of your mind as you're starting to do this, and really plan out or create a roadmap of what it is in your app that you really want to take offline. And sometimes, you're just going to have to be blunt and say no. No, we can't do that, but here we can do this. So, kind of think about that and be very intentional. Some of the things that you can really do to slim things down a bit is, if you'll notice over on the right here, the first thing you have to do is make sure that your table and your entities are offline capable. So there is actually a setting where you can go in and make them offline capable. At that point, you can then add them to your profile. Once you're in the profile, there's a lot of things you can do to slim it down here, such as determining which rows you want to make available. So for example, again, if you can see in my image here, I know it's a little bit small, you can set it to just the user roles. So think about this being self-service, only my records. I only want to see the accounts that I own, the activities that I own, the leads that I own, opportunities, etc. You can set it to team rows, so only the rows that are owned by the teams that I am a member of, or the business units that I'm a member of. You can say all rows, so I generally reserve the all rows for multi-select options or option sets that are their own entities. So additional tables that are needed to support my activity, for example, option selects. Then every other record is generally set to either my records, or what the next one here is, related rows. So I want to talk a little bit about related rows because there's relationships down here that kind of are integrated into that. So if you think about how you would, let's just talk about accounts for an example. I want to see all of my accounts, but I also have a bunch of activities out there that I put on other people's accounts, and I want to see those accounts too. I want to see all the accounts, just the ones where I have related records. So you can go in here and say either related only or my records plus a relationship. So I want to see all the contacts that are mine that are associated to the accounts that I own. So kind of think through that and test as you go, and make sure you have a really good map in your mind of what exactly do they need to see offline, their stuff versus other people's stuff. There's also, like I mentioned, so you can choose out the relationships, and then you can also choose out the sync intervals. Now, I didn't intentionally put in this files and images here because that's in preview right now. So I'm not really going to talk too much about it, other than to say at the end of the year, things will change and you'll be able to do a little bit more with the files and images and be able to see rows and columns related to those. But right now in GA, you really only can skip down to sync intervals. So this is another thing that I want to mention. You really got to kind of roadmap. Syncing takes time away from your use of the app. It pops up on your screen. It becomes very annoying if you have to keep syncing. Even though it does it on its own, sometimes you don't have access to records if they're constantly being updated. So in some cases, certain records, I recommend that you change this. So you can do 24 hours, you can do it daily, you can do it, I think there's a 48-hour as well. I'll have to go look, I can't remember for sure. But changing how often they sync is important. And it's also based on how frequently those records are updated. So for example, an account record may not be updated that often. So why would I want to see it sync every 5 minutes? Whereas an activity, I may want to see activities because they're happening so frequently over time. I may want to, be more frequent with my sync. So again, all of those things help to refine what lands in your offline mode, what actually gets downloaded and synced to your device. And then again, if I can give you any tips and tricks, it's just be very intentional, be very slow, and make a setting change, go publish it and test it. Make a setting change, go test it and publish it.
Dana,
Yeah,
can I insert something real quick?
sure.
This group basically has never really discussed Dataverse, just so you know. So it's very GP and Business Central. So unless they've seen it in other places, everybody on this call probably has might not be anywhere close to what you're looking at. So just to give a little perspective, being this group has started off BC and GP this is all Dataverse. CRM, if you want to use a generic term, or so that's what she's showing. So if none of this is making sense from an accounting standpoint, this is the other side of accounting, or how do I explain that? It's not the non-accounting part of Dynamics 365. And also just for anybody, maybe that clears it up, but when you hear account would be a customer or a vendor from an accounting standpoint. It's the legal entity is the way I like to say that. So if anybody's hearing account and going and thinking it's your chart of accounts or something like that, that's totally separate. So
yeah, no, great. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, and keep in mind, one of the things that we're really trying to do is kind of broaden the group and get more links to our other types of platforms within the Dynamics space. So hopefully, this kind of brings out some interest to you with regards to some of your CE users. If you have any out there, maybe we can bring them in. But ultimately, we're just trying to kind of broaden this group. And so hopefully this kind of gives you a little bit of insight into what we're doing in CE. And not only that, but because there are some integrations between F&O and some of our other platforms, for example, some of this data that will be in Dataverse is going to be visible for our CE users in their mobile apps. So that being said, what you guys are working on could eventually move its way into the CE platform.
yeah, I was gonna, being you just said that, I was gonna ask, is this is strictly like you can't do a virtual table or anything like that right now, right? If I remember, this is just strictly what's in the model driven world.
So are you talking about strictly for offline?
For offline, yep. Mm-hmm.
So as long as that table, so you can do virtual tables. I mean, I think that's probably a good question I could take away. I haven't tried an offline profile with a virtual table, but I would imagine that, well, I shouldn't say that. I'll have to go and look because I'm not sure.
And by the way, I'm not using those right now, so I wasn't
Not an
looking for
urgent
any.
one. Okay.
Yeah, just
All right.
curious. So
No worries, no worries. Okay, so real quick, just when you're configuring things, again, we are in the Dataverse, so model-driven apps are what we use. You use these offline by going in and kind of flipping a switch. So this is that feature switch where you can go in and say, make it available for me, and then down here you turn it on and associate it to your profile. So that part of it, super fast, super quick, and now all of a sudden my app is available offline. A couple gotchas, adding users to profiles. They do have in a future release the ability to go in and tell the system, I want these 10 users to be able to go offline, and these 10 users cannot go offline. So potentially eliminating the need to download things if people complain about that or something like that. But again, that's future. So right now it's kind of on for everybody or off for everybody. Keeping it simple is another key thing. When you're adding your tables or entities in here, make sure that you keep it as simple as possible for offline use. Slim it down as much as you can. There are some different experiences between devices. So your Androids, your iOS devices, display slightly differently. And I've been experiencing, I've got a couple Microsoft tickets open right now with regards to their personal views. So if you go in and you create a personal view, it's not always showing up in the mobile device. So it's a little buggy when it comes to offline, but just throwing that out there. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to demo here and give you a peek into the CE world. So this is what our sales hub looks like, our different apps look like. So we have a variety of apps within the system. Any one of these can be made to go offline. And you can create custom apps in here as well. So I've created a custom one that I can log into virtually here. And I've customized it to only show the things that I really wanted them to see in my custom app. And then that particular app is also available on my phone device, which I will show you here.
Dana, we're still seeing the PowerPoint.
Oh, okay. Let me stop sharing. How about now?
Okay, perfect.
And then if I move this screen over, can you see my little mobile phone also?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'll do that in just a second. So basically what you're seeing is my sandbox. I have the multiple apps that we are able to get to. And again, most of these come out of the box. And then I've created my own app that I can click into online. And this app I've customized with only specific entities that I really want people to see. So I've kind of customized this to a work stream. And then what they see offline is determined by that profile that I created. So let me go ahead and jump into there. So as I mentioned, and as we talked about just a moment ago, everything is in our Dataverse. So we have portals. This one's specifically the Power Apps portal. And the Power Apps portal allows you to go in and customize your app. And this particular one is allowing me to customize a specific table. So accounts, so that being, you know, your, from a financial perspective, the financial account that you're working with or customer. And then I've allowed that particular entity to go offline. Then I've gone into our admin center, and for those specific entities, I've added them to my offline profile. So I've created an offline profile and added each entity, and then each of those entities you can then go refine to determine how you want those entities to show up or create your offline availability of those records. So again, I can go in here and I can be very specific on, you know, my rows, teams rows. I can even go in here and create a custom table, which is basically a view that says, you know, how I want to filter these records. And you can filter by any set of information or what they call rows. Think of them as fields within your table. So a lot of customizing can happen in here as we're going through here. And then jump over here. So this is where I was mentioning that within my app, I can go in and turn on or off the offline capability. And once I've turned it on, I can say, oh, go in, turn it off, go ahead and allow people to go offline, and then choose which profile is appropriate for this particular app. And it is one profile per app. So if you wanted to create a profile for managers, for example, then you should create another app that is for managers that uses a manager profile. And then, of course, you have the ability to publish these changes to your app. So as that applies to my app, let me go ahead and so one thing I wanted to mention, again, for any of you guys who are thinking of going into the CE space and really are interested in mobile, mobile has, Microsoft has a Dynamics 365 for phones app, and then they also have one for their tablets. That is being deprecated at the end of this year, and they are moving into the Power App space. They're kind of grasping it with both hands. So when you go in, to phones, you have a couple of additional options that are being deprecated along with it. You will only be allowed to use your username and sign in. You cannot go direct to a URL if you're using Power Apps. So there's a little bit of a difference, but I just wanted to kind of keep that in the forefront of your mind. And then what this will do is it gives me every environment. So I'm sure you guys do the same thing in your platforms. You have a dev, a test, and a prod. So regardless of which platform you're using, you're going to be able to see all the apps in here and make a decision between your environments. So this will actually tell me this one is in my test environment. And if I scroll down, I can see ones from other environments that I'm a member of. So here's a Stoneridge software one, and then another test one. So you can kind of see I've got all these different things. It can, in my opinion, get a little bit busy, especially for users who are spanning multiple environments. So, you know, Microsoft's going to do what they're going to do, but you have to kind of train against this stuff. And one thing you can do is they are releasing another feature at the end of the year that will allow you to have favorites. So you can favorite these different apps. It's not out in GA just yet. So I'm going to go ahead and just open up my app that I created, my offline demo app. Let it load. So you will see this the first time you go in. So every morning it does a download of anything that you said, hey, needs to be downloaded. So you'll go ahead and do that download. And then as it's doing its download, you'll see that happen. Where I clicked was right up here with this little globe. You'll see it kind of spinning up here at the top. And it'll tell you what your percentage is and how it's progressing against your application download. And more than likely, because I am sharing my screen, it's going to take forever. So I'll go ahead and just go back to my screen, but you can see that it's progressing at, you know, I have 2 records for it to download. So it's going to go ahead and do that. But again, it does do all the same functionality that you have when you're online. It's just whether or not you have access to these particular records when you're offline. And that's really what those profiles do. So I'm going to open it up. I know you guys are kind of on a different space and everything, but I want to open it up to any questions and maybe kind of a little bit of a poll to see if any of you guys are looking at CE, or if you have people who might be interested in the CE space, that maybe we can kind of get this group a little bit bigger and a little bit more mixed. And I will stop sharing this as well. Anybody have any comments or questions for me?
Dana, have you ever worked with Resco back in the day?
I actually have never had to use Resco. However, I have worked with some of the Resco reps, and I've had other people that I've worked with who have used it. So we've done demos and things like that in our other user groups.
I used it in field service. It was a great product. I was just curious if you had any, like, it seems like this is the first start of not using Resco, and Resco is really, really customizable. So I was just curious if you'd had any equal experience there. But
yeah, so you know, basically our model, the requirements were we have a customer who was leaving Resco and wanted to kind of go all in with Dynamics. So we had to basically make sure that what they can do in Resco, they can do here. So ultimately, you know, it's a different way of doing it. I do think that there are features that I would like to see that are a little bit more robust with the Dynamics platform. One thing about field service is they actually have a field service app. So everything's kind of really focused in. So you can also download that from your from the App Store. And then again, you're customizing things based on what's already in your system versus having to go grab things.
Yeah, you're essentially making a whole new app when you go to Resco, whereas this is just an extension, which is cool.
Yeah, exactly. And I did also want to mention, I'll just share this here. So if you guys do anything with Microsoft, oops, let me go back here. So I added in a couple of links to Microsoft Learn. So if you're interested in mobile apps in general and how they work within the Microsoft platform, you can go there. And then I also added my LinkedIn. So if you want to chat, happy to chat about CE and answer any questions you guys have. And I assume, Cecile, you'll share this deck with everybody as well. Oh, did we lose Cecile? Be on mute.
Oh, sorry. I'm copying the the link into the chat.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yes, we will share. We will share this slide deck.
Great. All right. That's everything from me, Cecile. You want to jump back in?
Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Dana. I really appreciate your time sharing. And if you guys have any other topic that you want us to discuss, just let me know. Or if you have anything you wanted to share, just let me know as well. You are very much welcome to be my guest speaker. Okay. All right. So I think that's it for now. I will stop the recording. Thank you so much. Hold on, I will just stop the recording, okay?